Woof woof, bark bark, doggy doggy, oh. Oh oh oh. What's up, guys? How's it going? Here's we're gonna be doing a comp guide on Warwick REROLL. This is my favorite comp to play on the current patch, is 11.23B, I believe. Yeah, this is my favorite comp to play on the patch. You guys have probably seen it pop up. Now a lot of popular players are playing it as well. So I thought I'd hit you guys up with a guide. I've been basically one-tricking this in around Grandmaster Elo, just for fun. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the actual strength of the comp at the end of the video. But first, let's just teach you guys how to play it. I do think the comp is not OP, but is, we'll talk about it. Okay, cool. So if we're wanting to play this comp, this is going to be an item start of, by the way, don't look at the items yet. We'll talk about them. Don't worry about them. But when you're going to start your items, it's going to be bow. Bow is going to be your best bet, 100%. And then after that, rod, glove, chain, tier are all fine. But I mean, tier theoretically is fine. But man, if you go tier and you get another tier, you're just like, ugh. You kind of have to open at that point. But anyways, all right. Augments that are going to be good in this build: Celestial, Thrill, Chemtech augments are going to be good. Econ augments are obviously good, and Ascension is actually very good in this build. So the reason why Celestial and Thrill is very good is because, especially if you're going to be doing the Shiv tech, Warwick can get Thrill procs off of his Shiv if his Shiv kills somebody. And then Celestial is very good on Warwick because a lot of times he is free hitting in the fight when you have QSS. And so he can fully get up to that overheal shield very, very, very quickly. And so he can get a lot of value just off the shield, and it just scales very hard with his healing. So it's very nice. Okay, cool. So what is this comp? So let's talk about what this comp is and why it works and why it looks like this before we start breaking it down. So this is a slow roll on 6 comp. We are playing for 3 stars whenever we play this. Most important 3 stars are going to be Warwick, Quinn, and Lissandra. After that, Zach is really nice as well if you just randomly hit Zach. And then randomly you'll hit Singe sometimes. So be looking out for Singe even though you're rolling on 6. Sometimes you'll still hit. Okay, cool. So this is a slow roll on 6 comp, somewhat of a tempo comp. So on 2-star, very strong on stage 3 on 2-star, decent on stage 4 on 2-star, and then useless at stage 5 on 2-star, pretty much. On 3 stars, it dominates stage 3 and 4, and decently strong on stage 5, but eventually falls off on stage 6. That's why it is a more of a tempo-ish comp, but you don't have to hit the full comp fully upgraded at 3-star for it to like work as a tempo comp, whereas when you play like a 1-cost reroll, you really need to. Since it is 2 costs and 3 costs at 2-star, it is decently strong in the mid game for most lobbies. Cool. So the structure of this comp is to buy time for Warwick to scale his damage throughout the fight. Warwick's damage comes out really, really, really slow, and we'll talk about a couple different item combinations, but specifically if you're using this item combination, you need him to scale throughout the fight, and the other item combinations also call for scaling. So that is the structure of this comp. So let me just like talk about it real quick. So what I mean by this is the structure of the comp is this is CC. This is some CC on backline, has some good backline access, right? This is at level 7, you're going to be playing Zyra until you hit Yuumi. So that is more backline access. And if you're playing Yuumi, obviously that's huge access on the whole team. This is some CC on frontline. Lissandra, also the damage nerf that she does, the dazzling effect that she does. So very good CC for frontline. Singed is actually extremely important in this comp because sometimes, a lot of people run like one super tank, like a Vex or a Mundo or a Braum or something. And you just put the Singed right next to your Warwick, and Singed can toss them away, can toss the super tank away so Warwick can get the work on some of the other people he's fighting, right? And then Zach, also another great, just small CC, also bundles them up for the Lissandra ulti to come through on top of them. So yeah, just a lot of good CC units. Just make sure you put Singe really close to your Warwick, and on the other side of him, just the tankiest member you have. Sometimes that's Zach, but Zach is going to get some good CC honestly wherever he's positioned. So anyway, so that is how the comp works. So what is your game plan? And then I'm going to go through our game plan. How do we actually play this comp? How do we actually make this board a reality, and how does it actually work, which we just talked about a little bit. And then we'll talk about some items and then some special considerations at the end, some stuff you should think about whenever you are playing Warwick. Okay, so the game plan. So play this whenever you have a Chemtech opener with decent item setups for Warwick, like you have a lot of bow items and all that good stuff. But guys, if you want to force, I've been hard forcing this comp and actually consistently top 4ing. I mean, I'm not using it to climb. I'm playing it purely for fun, but I have been consistently top 4ing. And I've been hard forcing it. So if you want to force it, so obviously if you don't want to force, yeah, play it in the exact circumstances I just laid out. Chemtech opener, and you got some bow items. You're good to go. Okay. If you want to force the comp, then you should pre-level early game, unless you're going to hit an econ threshold that you really want to hit, and you're guaranteed to hit it. Pre-level early game to increase your Chemtech / Warwick odds. If you hit a Warwick early, then you just play strongest board around Warwick, with more of a consideration towards your econ over board strength, because we are just going to roll for this level 6 board. You just drop the scholar and that's the level 6 board. So you do want to prioritize econ because we are going to try to just be strong at the end of stage 3. Cool. But yeah, so prioritize econ, but you can play around your Warwick and play strongest board if you hit. If no Warwick at the beginning of the game, then prioritize econ over everything. So running Mercs is actually really easy to run in this board because we have the bruiser Chemtech here. So we have, if you want to run Ilaoi Zach, and then Quinn as a Merc, right, with Warwick, and then you just got to add a Gangplank or a Misfortune. So it's actually really easy to run Mercs, and we're just going to full send it on stage 3 to cash out anyways. So yeah, I do like running econ traits like Mercs or Yordles. You can just run Yordles, run basically just the weakest early game you can. Get to fast level 6 and then roll for your Warwick board, so you can use Yordles to get there. But yeah, just do that if it makes sense. But yeah, if you want to force, I either just hit my Warwick, right, early game, or I prioritize econ for sure. Okay, you need to send it, roll it down somewhere on stage 3 to hit your 2 stars and the level 6 board. So it's just this board minus Yumi. Obviously, if you don't hit Mundo, you can just play Twitch here or an Urgot, right? So you don't have to hit Mundo. But, obviously the strongest version is going to be with Mundo. Okay. Yeah, for the most part, you need to be strong at least the end of stage 3. That's why we're going to roll pretty heavy on level 6 and stage 3. And all of stage 4. So we wanted to be strong at the end of stage 3 and pretty much all of stage 4 to consistently top 4. Now, if you guys are looking at me, looking over my other monitor, this is my notes. I'm going to leave these notes in the pinned comment on the video. So if you guys are more of, you learn a little bit better by reading text, I'll have that there as well, the stuff that I'm reading from. I wrote this right before here. So, all right, slow roll the rest of the game for your 3 stars, but you need to at least hit your Warwick. Honestly, to consistently top 4, you need to hit more than Warwick, but you definitely have to hit Warwick, and you need to make sure that you have some 3 stars by stage 5. So typically, like games that go really well for me, I have this 3-star, I have Warwick 3-starred, Quinn 3-starred, and then I have either Zach or Lysandra 3-starred by stage 5. That is going to be a very consistent top 4. But if not, if you just hit the Warwick, you can scrape by sometimes in lobbies. But really, to consistently top 4, you need to hit multiple 3-stars. But you really need to hit Warwick. In games where you get to stage 5 and you haven't hit Warwick 3-star, I've had games where I hit everything 3-starred on my board that is possible, except for Warwick, and it was really tough. I think we did pull out the game because Lysandra just popped off, but yeah. Okay, yeah, but you need to, so basically just to summarize what I just said, if you want to force it, just prioritize econ. You need to be strong on the end of stage 3 at least, and all of stage 4 to consistently top 4, and then you really want to have your 3 stars on your board by stage 5, pretty much no later than 5-1 or 5-2. Okay, so items. QSS is basically mandatory on Warwick. By the time you get to stage 5, he is pretty unplayable. Now, that doesn't mean you have to slam this first, because early game QSS doesn't get a whole lot of value, but it isn't a bad slam because it does have some good stats. But yeah, it's pretty much mandatory. If you don't have QSS, it's very hard to play the game. But it's not hard to get a cloak and 1 glove. That's not that hard to do. So make sure you're saving your cloaks and your gloves for that item because you have to build it. Okay, after that, Shiv, I think, is best in slot. There are a bunch of different builds that actually work on Warwick. So do not look at this and say that you have to play Static Shiv, QSS, Rageblade. But you do need to play QSS. And Static Shiv, I'm not certain. I've played so many versions of Warwick, but this does feel the most consistent, especially synergizes very well with a lot of your augments. So Static Shiv, so if you don't know what to build, QSS, Static Shiv, you're good to go. That's full build. The third item, he actually has a lot of good third items. So Rageblade, very good. That's probably the highest damage scaling. Titans, extremely good. Giant Slayer, very good as well, because sometimes you get stuck on frontline, even with Singe tossing them out of the way. Bramble in lobbies that it makes sense. You know, there's a lot of AD, and then the only AP people are crit. I've first placed some lobbies with Bramble. Got a Bramble diff on him, you know what I'm saying? So Bramble's very good. Warmogs is actually very good because Warwick scales off of his current health, his on-hit magic damage, and also just a standard very good tank item. And then RFC is also very good. I had a game where I just got infinite bows. I first placed this game. This was in Grandmaster Elo, where I ran RFC, Static Shiv. My Warwick was backline Warwick, and he was just popping off, and I first placed the lobby. I did have a lot of the 3-stars, but the point is, you just need QSS, and after that, any of the items I just said, any combination of them, except for like double tank, is going to be good. I had a game where I did QSS, Titans, popped off. I've had games where I've done QSS, Bramble, Titans, and popped off. So just know that you need QSS. Your best damage item is probably Shiv, and then after that, Rageblade, Titans, Giant Slayer, Bramble, Warmogs, RFC, all good items, but make sure you don't build RFC and QSS together. Do not do that. I'm sure it's okay, but it is definitely, you're losing out on a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. Lysandra just gets the leftover AP items if you want to dump them on her, but some of our best items are going to be Morello, GA, Archangel Staff. She can definitely be a second carry in this build. Quinn is usually the better second carry if you 3-star her because she does have backline access, which is something that your build lacks. A little bit of, like, your Chemtechs don't really have backline access. So Quinn, you need mana generation, so that's either going to be Sojin or Rageblade. And after that, you give her the attack speed and AP leftover items. Even if you put AP or AD items on her, it's actually not too bad. She does deal a decent amount of AD damage just by the nature of her being a challenger and being a 3-star. But AP is going to be our best bet to one-shot that backline. But I do like putting a lot of mana gen on her just to consistently disrupt the backline. And then your tank items are going to go on Mundo or Zac. Honestly, I like putting tank items on a Mundo 2 more than I like putting it on a Zac 3. But itemizing Zac is fine, totally fine. Okay, so here's some considerations for running the comp. You don't have to have best in slot on Warwick. Slam whatever bow items you get that makes sense. So just like I was talking about, you can play a bunch of different combination of bow items on Warwick. If you're hard forcing, you do want to go for the highest cap you can go for. So something that looks kind of like this, QSS, Static Shiv, Rageblade, or maybe the Titans version instead. You do want to have like a really, if you're forcing, you do want like best items possible because that is like the reward of forcing because you played a weak early game. So just keep that in mind. But in general, you don't have to play like the best items, you know. You can fast 7 if you high roll. So if you hit a lot of Warwick, you natural some 2-stars on your board. You're like 90 HP on stage, or halfway through stage 3, you're like 90 plus HP. You already have a Warwick 2. That's definitely fast 7able, and I fast 7 a lot of times. It does make you not hit Warwick as easily, but it does give you a lot of flex options because you can end up playing like Fiora over Quinn and stuff like that. And you can go ahead and get your Scholar in by going level 7. You can consistently hit Mundos, you can hit Lisses and Zacs easier. So consider fast 7ing, but you know, if you're high rolling. If you go 7, you can play Fiora instead of Quinn if Quinn 3 isn't happening. Quinn 3 is going to be better than Fiora 2, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I've first placed the game because I pivoted to a Fiora and then ran like Vi TK at level 8, and so I had Enforcer and a TK. You can play 4 bruisers with emblems instead of playing Scholar, right? Or if you ever get to level 8 and hit a TK, this can also be strong by just putting in 4 bruisers. You can totally play more Chemtechs if you have Chemtech emblems, or maybe you have 1 Chemtech emblem, you go to level 7, you add another Chemtech, gives you 7 Chemtech, can be very strong, especially if you have like instant injection or something like that, or Chemtech overload. Cool. Okay, you can also totally pivot out of Warwick to Urgot and run these same items on Urgot. If you aren't hitting, but that is the weak-willed doggy player, and me is a doggy one trick, so I never pivot out to Urgot, but you could totally pivot out to Urgot if you are not wanting to just commit to the Church of Warwick. Anyways, all right, guys, that's gonna be it. That was a pretty long guide. So what is my opinion on this build? How strong do I actually think it is? After playing, I've probably played like 20 plus games of it in the past 2 days. Of the like top 4 reroll comps, you know what I mean by top 4, it's like, you know, you play this comp to top 4. I think it is the worst. But that isn't like a problem with the Warwick comp. It's that the other comps are just better. So like I think Katarina reroll is a lot more consistent in top 4 if you're uncontested. right? I think Trundle is a pretty easy top 4 because you can play Liss and Echo, which are broken units. But this one is also very good too because you're not very contested. Very rarely am I contested for Warwick in my games. But if I try to play Trundle, I'm pretty much contested every game. If I try to play Katarina, I'm contested every game. So I found this one to be really, really, really fun. And you can actually consistently top 4 just by the nature that you're uncontested. But of the 2-cost reroll builds, I think it is the worst. But that doesn't mean it's bad either. So I just want to be honest with you guys. I don't think this build is OP. But I do really like playing it. I think it's really, really, really fun. And yeah, and it's a way to play a little bit uncontested. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. If you guys want more of me, I stream 5 days a week at twitch.tv/TrajanTFT. I also post TikToks pretty much every day that I stream and every day that I play. TikTok.com/@TrajanTFT. I also post those on YouTube. So if you're already watching my YouTube shorts, then there's no reason to follow me over there. And then also I post every day on Twitter, twitter.com/TrajanTFT. I would love to see some of you guys on my other socials, especially my stream and Twitter. I would love to see you guys there, but if not, I just appreciate that you guys came here and watched all the way to the end of the video. If you guys want to like or comment on the video, that helps me enormously, actually. And I do read every comment and respond to every one that is worth responding to. Like if you leave like a positive comment, I'll usually respond to you and read it. Or a thoughtful comment, I'll try to leave a thoughtful reply. All right, guys, that's it. Appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and wherever you are, I just hope that you're doing well. All right, see ya. Bye.